Good day, students. This is example 2 of week 4. This will just be a continuation on 2D sketching in NX. So I'm going to start with just a sketch. I already created the part. I'm going to choose the top view as my plane. Okay, then I'm going to start. I'm going to make this point here as my sketch origin. So with that, I'm going to first start by inserting this polygon here. So here at more, there is a polygon option. So for my center point, I'm just clicking the center, the sketch origin. The radius should be 15 and I want the rotation to be 0. There are two dimensions that is constraining the polygon, but I don't want this 0-degree one. I rather want to choose the sketch origin and then this point here and vertically align them. It's just a little bit better way of constraining it. Thereafter, I'm going to insert this circle. So just using the circle tool, 35, and that's it. I'm also just sometimes moving the dimensions out of the way, otherwise it clutters the whole sketch. Okay, then next I'm going to add this circle or more partial or curve, I can say, rather than a whole circle, and it should be 20. So I'm just going to say it should be 20 and then just pick 2 points. It doesn't have to be the exact correct points. We're going to fix that later. Then I'm just going to add these lines here. So picking that point, just making them an arbitrary length. And for this one as well. Okay, then so those lines should both be 10 millimeters from the sketch origin. So I can just put that in by clicking D and picking this line and the sketch origin, and I'm going to say it should be 10. Okay, there you go. And the same for the second one. Should also be 10. There you go. Okay, so it is not fully constrained at the moment because we don't have a dimension for this yet. And but we're going to fix that in a moment. I'm now going to add this circle here. So the 40 millimeter one. I'm going to initially add it as just a whole circle. So I'm going to pick circle and I'm going to pick this method of putting it in because I have these 2 points which I want to be, the circle should be on them, and it should be 40. There you go. Okay, so now another dimension I can add is this circle midpoint, and this one should be 150 millimeters apart. So I'm just going to add it. There you go. So currently the sketch just has one auto dimension. The reason for this is because so it's this. See, this part can move. So these two circles origins should be aligned. So I'm just going to do that, and yeah, I'm choosing the horizontal alignment. Now everything is constrained. So now I'm going to go ahead and add this part here. I'm going to use the profile tool. Just select the point on the circle and add the curve and add this line here. Okay. And it automatically added this tangent constraint, but I don't want it, so I'm just going to select it and delete it. Okay. Next, so we see that this portion, it is symmetrical, so those lines are obviously then equal length, we see it's 20 millimeters, so I'm just going to add that. So dimension of this one should be 20. It looks a little weird now, but we're going to fix it. Then these two lines, they should be of equal length. So I select the lines, I select the lines, and then I just wait for this block to pop up and selected the equal length constraint. Now also I want them to be perpendicular, because you can see they are not perpendicular, parallel rather, because you can see they are parallel. So I'm just going to add that too. I'm selecting the two lines, waiting for the block to pop up, and I select parallel. Okay, then the distance between the two lines should be 24, so I'm going to add that. Select the two lines and say it should be 24. Okay, I'm just going to move this so it looks a little bit more the way it should. Okay, it's moving quite a lot, so I'm just going to, I'll fix that now with adding more constraints. So what we want to add is, so we can see here is a 15-degree angle. So I'm going to first insert a reference line from which I can add that angle constraint. I just gave it an arbitrary length. It can be anything because it's just a reference line. So I'm going to make it a reference line, and I'm going to say this reference line and this line should be they should be parallel. So the parallel constraint. Okay. So 15 degrees. So I'm going to click D. I'm going to click this line here, and I'm going to select the horizontal axis, and I'm just going to add it in the correct place here, and 15. There we go. Okay, so what we can still add now is so we have this should be 20, that arc there. Okay, so it kind of freaked out a little bit when adding it, but let's just move it in as there you go, in a bit more of a correct place. Okay, so now I'm just going to move some of these dimensions so that they don't clutter the whole sketch. This one I can just move far away because it's not important. Okay, so now there's still one auto dimension, so that is this this curve's midpoint or arc center is kind of floating around now, so we're just going to add a constraint that it is a point on this line, the reference line. So I'm just going to pick it and point on curve. There you go. So now our sketch is fully constrained, but there's still a few things to do. So in the sketch there isn't a line there, so we're just going to delete it with the trim function. There we go. So, and the sketch is still fully constrained. Now we're almost done, so just these 3 ellipses need to be added. So the ellipse function you can find at more, but before doing that I'm just first going to insert a point for my first ellipse to for its center point. So I'm just going to add a point here. Then so the distance between the center point of the ellipse and this center point should be 40. So I'm going to just add that. And also this point and the sketch origin, they should be aligned. Okay, so now we can, and the sketch is still fully constrained, now you can add the first ellipse. So I'm going to just select this point I added, and so in the note here I said that the major radius should be 10, and the minor radius should be 5, so 10 and 5, and I'm just going to say okay. So now you can see that it says the sketch needs 3 constraints. So this is a weird thing that I saw when adding the ellipse. It kind of thinks it's not constrained, but you see if I try and move the ellipse, it doesn't move, so clearly it is constrained in position. So I don't exactly know why that happens, but it is fine for now. We see, well, our sketch it was constrained before adding the ellipse, and the ellipse doesn't move anywhere, so we're just going to kind of ignore that. You shouldn't always just ignore when it says you need constraints, but in this case I know it was constrained beforehand and I added it correctly, so this is just a weird thing with the ellipse. But in any case, so now I'm just going to add the rest of these ellipses with the pattern function. So I'm going to use the linear one, and the curve I want to add is this ellipse. Oh, and so the code word for this video is power bank, and then the count should be 3. My linear object, I'm going to choose select from list. I'm going to choose the horizontal axis. Just going to reverse the direction and keep it 35 millimeters and apply. Okay, so now our sketch is done, and once again it still says there needs 3 constraints, but everything is fixed, so you don't have to worry about this so much at the moment. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of the sketch. Just a few things that I want to show you, which is kind of interesting. So there's this function scale curve, which is kind of cool. So if you want to scale an entire sketch, or you can just parts of it too, then you can use the scale curve. And for example, I click 2 and it scales everything twice the size. So that is kind of a cool feature. It is different from offset, because offset you can't really do it with an entire like the entire sketch. And offset also, if you see with this ellipse, if I make it big, let's say 10, it doesn't keep the integrity, if I can call it like that, of the ellipse. It just offsets the entire, every single piece with 10 millimeters. But if I used scale, then it does. It makes it still an ellipse. So that's just a cool feature that you maybe would want to use at some point. And another feature here is the offset move curve. So how it differs from just offset is, if you use it like that, or let's make it a little bigger, it totally changes. It doesn't keep your original curve. It completely changes it. So just something neat that you can maybe use sometime. So that is the end of this example. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Good luck with the rest of the examples. I just forgot to add these 2 curves in the sketch. I'm just going to click add it. So anytime you forget or want to add something else to a sketch, you can just enter the sketch again by double clicking it. And I want to add fillets. So here between that circle and this line, and it should be 50. Yes, 50, and similar for the other one. So this one should also be 50. And okay, yeah, then now the sketch is finished. So yeah.